Good morning. I'm Parampreet Singh. Welcome to the Meditation Questions podcast, part of the Immersion Meditation Network. Meditation without gods, reincarnation, afterlife, or the supernatural. If you'd like to support us, please visit meditationquestions.com. Is relaxation the same as meditation? I know a lot of people turn to meditation because they want to be able to relax better, or maybe even just relax a little bit, just to get away from the intensity, the stress, the hustle bustle of everyday taskiness and responsibilities. They just want to be able to turn off all thoughts about such matters and be able to just relax, just take a breath and not worry just for a moment. Other people don't really feel like they need to meditate because they already do other things to relax. These might be gardening, playing games, playing music, participating in sports, hanging out with friends, enjoying themselves, socializing, laughing. Are these relaxing or relaxation activities as good as meditating? Yes, they are. And in fact, sometimes they might be better. We as humans have needs other than sitting quietly alone and watching our breathing. Well, most human beings do. Some of us introverts might feel there's not much more needed than breathing alone quietly. So, yay, meditation. For those who do need other things, a relaxing hobby might be better at times than meditating. In previous episodes of Meditation Questions, I've regularly recommended relaxing non-meditative activities for those that struggle with meditation. So, no question, relaxing can be as good as meditating, maybe even better. But is it the same as meditating? Before we answer that question, let's take a look at what relaxation is. Looking at etymonline.com, it's a website that traces the etymology of any word you might be interested in. It tells us that relax, that word, is from the Latin root relaxare, which means to loosen, open, stretch out, make loose. And it's a combo of two words, re, which means again or back, and laxare, which means to loosen. And the meaning of decreasing tension is from the early 15th century, meaning to become less tense, to be relaxed. Every generation has a term they use for relaxing, and when I was young, a common term was chillin'. Just chillin'. I'm not doing much, I'm just chillin'. And we also, when we wanted to tell someone to calm down, we used to say, hey, just hold on, just take a chill pill. Obviously, that's entirely inappropriate now, but that is a term that we used. In the 90s, my cousin, who is a generation younger than I am, she was in her 20s, she introduced me to the term chillaxin, which is a combination of chillin' and relaxing. And I love this word. I've been using it since then. It has come and gone, and I don't really hear it anymore in popular culture, but this word is going to stay with me for the rest of my life because it's just perfect. Chillin' and relaxin', I'm chillaxin'. The idea of relaxing is to just hang out, doing nothing, expecting nothing, just enjoying yourself and being at ease. In those terms, meditation and relaxation are not the same. They're very different because during meditation, you're actually doing something specific to produce a certain result. You have an intention, you have a purpose, you are trying to achieve an outcome. And that outcome is sometimes relaxation, sometimes it's some other physiological process. And we've talked about these various processes in the past episodes as well. You might be trying to reduce stress, reduce anxiety, reduce blood pressure, increase focus, increase clarity, and increase that warm, generous, compassionate feeling inside your heart. Lots of outcomes you might be looking for when you're meditating. So, relaxing and meditation are different that way. But there is this one other term from my youth that was so big and so much in the mainstream in the 80s called the relaxation response. This idea, relaxation response, was also a title of a book written in the 70s by Herbert Benson, who was a Harvard physician, and Miriam Z. Clipper. And this book was huge. It stayed on the New York Times bestseller list for hundreds of weeks, and it became like a known entity in popular culture. So when I thought of the question of is relaxation and meditation the same thing for this episode, that's the first thought that came into my mind is, oh, I remember that book, Relaxation Response. I should look up what's happened to that. I mean, I'm sure it's been discredited by now. It's probably one of those things that was a flash in the pan like other trends of my youth. So I looked it up, and to my astonishment, it's still known theory. It hasn't been invalidated. In fact, it's been validated. So that's cool. As I looked further into it, it turns out this relaxation response was a term created to make the performance of meditation more palatable to the masses in the West. Very much like mindfulness has been branded to make it more accessible and more palatable to the West, rather than going into deep Indian and Buddhist philosophical complexities. Mindfulness has become an easy way to get into meditation. The story for relaxation response is the other huge meditation practice of the time in the 70s and 80s, transcendental meditation. That group came to Harvard and they said, we're doing this thing. It seems to help reduce stress and blood pressure. And we're wondering if you're interested in studying it. And the Harvard researchers said, no, we don't think so. Feels a little kooky. But thanks anyway. We're going to study behavior and blood pressure in monkeys. So we're good. But the TM people, they persisted. And they said, come on, just try it. Benson finally met with the person who was making TM popular, Transcendental Meditation, and that person was Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Benson, he said, okay, I'll study it, but you have to agree, whatever the outcome, you have to accept it. And Maharishi Mahesh Yogi said, okay, that's a deal. Benson started to study it, and to his surprise, it worked. But he didn't want to call it TM or meditation. He came up with the term relaxation response. What is the relaxation response? It is the opposite to another response that was already existing called the fight or flight response. And this is how the fight or flight response works. When we're under threat or stress, the body says, hey, we need to do something about this. It releases a bunch of hormones and chemicals. It increases blood pressure, increases heart rate, and heightens vigilance. And just gets ready to do something, to make a physical action, to either fight or to run away. And this is a really good strategy when we're really under threat, but it's bad news when we're not, because continuous high blood pressure and overly fast heart rate are not good for us when they're happening all the time. And the problem is, so many things in life elicit the fight or flight response. Stuff that happens to us at work, stuff that happens at home, things happening in the world, our own mind thinking and worrying about things we don't have control over. It's a non-stop bombardment of stress. What's a body to do? This is where the relaxation response comes in. It's a way of telling the body, hey, don't worry, we're not in danger, okay? Just chillax. We're going to be okay, buddy. We're going to be okay. When Benson, who wrote the relaxation response, was studying the subjects who were meditating, their metabolic rate decreased in a matter of minutes. And as he continued to study these subjects, those with high blood pressure showed that meditation over several weeks actually lowered their blood pressure. As these Harvard researchers continued to study this relaxation response, they said, oh, okay, we're intrigued. This seems to be working. There seems to be some validity here. What else could produce this response, this natural response by the body that is the opposite to the fight or flight response? They saw that visualization, progressive muscle relaxation, massage, prayer, meditation, Tai Chi, and yoga, all of these really helped in producing the relaxation response. They removed the person from everyday thinking and put them into a position of focusing on their body, on their breathing, and on calming, relaxing thoughts or visualizations. In his book, Benson, he writes that one of the most valuable things we can do in life is to learn deep relaxation. And we should spend every day just quieting our minds and trying to produce the relaxation response. And like I said, when I first thought of looking this up, I had just assumed this would have been a fad from the 80s that was no longer a thing, but it's still a thing. Benson is still continuing to do research on this. And it turns out the relaxation response is just a fancy way of saying meditate. Meditate and relax. So in that particular technical way, relaxation is the same as meditation. There are specific ways in which meditation is not the same as relaxation. As we said earlier, in meditation we have an objective, we have an outcome that we're looking for. There are meditations that are meant to not be calming. They're meant to increase awareness of uncomfortable things so you can process them. They're not relaxing at all. But there's a point that eventually, once those things have been processed, you will end up in a better place. There's also meditations that are meant to really agitate the body. In the ancient meditation literature,